Blake Lively and Amy Schumer shut down these sexist magazine covers on Instagram. Now, you may have seen, let's look at the photo, because you may have seen this photo because it went viral first on Facebook by a woman that randomly posted it. It wasn't a famous woman, and it got like thousands of shares, and so finally it made its way to some of the celebrities. And then you look on the Girls Life magazine cover, and it says, your dream hair, fall fashion you'll love, wake up pretty, my first kiss. And then on the Boys Life, you see explore your future, you see images of technology, science, you see the microscope there, you see a firefighter helmet. So there is a vast difference. So first, Amy Schumer, she shared that photo, that side-by-side photo, and she simply put in the caption, no. Then Blake Lively echoed Amy's sentiment, and she wrote, let's not let this happen anymore. Thoughts, 5 words or less.
Boys' life for girls, too.
XOXO, double standard.
Girls can be smart.
Word.
You know, Boys Life was my favorite magazine growing up as a kid because my brother was a Boy Scout, and so we had a subscription, and it was Sports Illustrated for Kids and Boys Life were my 2 favorite magazines. And I don't know if you guys have read them, and I haven't read a most recent issue of Boys Life, but they're badass. Like, they're really cool, and I always felt growing up that it was weird that it was called Boys Life because it was like a lot of what they're teaching you is like gender neutral. Like, I mean, yeah, all the stories of because they'd have like kids write about like how I used my Boy Scout skills, and those all were boys. But if you sort of forgot about that, the stories were interesting and were totally gender neutral. Really interesting tidbits about history that you might not have learned about. Again, I thought that the science experiments you could do at home were really cool. And then they had a lot of sort of tips about, outdoors and survival. It was in general a really cool magazine. And then I read an issue of Girls Life at a library one time, and it was funny. First of all, significantly pages shorter. And again, this was years ago, so I don't know how it's changed now, but it was such a wet blanket. I was like, this is dumb. And maybe it's because I was a tomboy or am a tomboy that I wasn't interested in what they had to say, but I couldn't believe that there were no survival tips. Like, that's why are you a Girl Scout or a Boy Scout if you're not going to learn how to survive?
The way that a young woman's life is portrayed largely in the media and the consequences for not having perfect hair, it is a survival guide.
Oh God!
Like
no.
That's, I mean, argue
There's
against
some
that.
truth to that statement. There's some truth to that statement, unfortunately, but that's how we're all conditioned to respond. Brett's right. And
I survive without perfect hair. I do it every day, and I'm surviving
But you
quite
get
well.
criticized. He's right. Believe me, that's the underlying the horrificness in this all, because you get criticized. If I showed up today with no makeup, my hair in shambles.
If I did your makeup and hair, you would get criticized.
I would get criticized. Yeah. Believe me, I get criticized when I go on the main show, when I go on Dr. Drew, and if my lipstick shade is too bright or too dark or too light, I get criticized for it. It's bullshit. So I understand where you're coming from, but this does underscore exactly what the problem is. Seeing these 2 side-by-side images, and then even Ariana Grande shared a picture, I don't know how recent it was, where she walked into, I believe it was an airport.
It said men's
section, women's section,
her mom shared
men's interest, women interest, and you have like on the men's side, you have like Entrepreneur Magazine and Science Magazine, all this stuff, and on the women's side, it was like Workout Magazine, Glamour Magazine, and it sucks.
I think guys, Sam, you said that people are always judging. If I have men, what can I say? Men also are victims to the same thing that women go through as far as how you look, especially me being a gay man. I know you guys are going to hate me in the comments below, but I'm going to keep it 1 trill. If being a gay man, I have to be on point all the time. 6-pack, body, hair, skin, flawless, right? So it's
I've heard this from the gay community. It's fucked up.
It's beyond fucked up. And also, there's magazines like GQ, Details, Esquire, that also say that guys have to be perfect to fit and to survive. You got to be all these things. So that's why I say a double standard. I think it goes both ways. The underlying conversation I need to go on here is why as a society are we subjecting ourselves to such unattainable perfection? And okay, and true story about this too. I went to Macy's, was in the women's fragrance section, was I love Crystal Noir from Versace. I went to spray it on, and the woman was like, "Oh, don't wear that. That's for women. Don't wear that." The men's section's at the men's store. I'm like, I want to wear this. Why
Good
can't
for
I?
you.
Because she thinks that men are supposed to be this way. So it works both ways. You know?
Yeah.
And also, a lot of these stars that are complaining about these magazines about being sexist, they're on the covers of them. Blake Lively's graced the cover of Cosmo how many times?
But see, I think what was different with these magazines is these are kids magazines.
Right.
So it's like, how are we programming kids at an early age of what they should be expecting? I don't feel uncomfortable if I buy an issue of GQ or Esquire because I want to get style tips, and spoiler alert, I don't really subscribe to feminine beauty standards, but as a kid, you shouldn't have to make that decision yet. You should just be, hey, here's something about science, and also boys, here's some fashion fall tips,
Screw that shit.
Yeah.
I don't like the boys' fashion fall tips. I don't like the girls' fashion fall
No
tips.
fashion tips.
Just like watch an
But
old Navy
science,
commercial
yes.
and go get. I'm all for uniforms in schools, just because I would have no way of choosing what the hell to wear.
But some, on the flip side, some teens and younger kids really use their clothes as self-expression.
Yeah, well,
Absolutely.
they shouldn't be able to.
And parents, and here's the thing.
Honestly, I think it's not fair because there's
Why?
Because there's kids on
Never
the other
having kids.
Because use your personality. Everyone just argued for you
That's
not
not true,
having.
Brett.
No,
That's not
everyone
true.
just argued
That's
for
not true.
the unattainable style guide of what's
You can
facing
still
young women.
use clothes
And I
as
think
an
that's-
expression,
no,
as self-expression,
I think
without it being.
Schools aren't the place for it. I think school is a place for everyone to sit there, use their minds and their personality to get stronger. That's what it's for.
I think it's
to build that
also
kind
about
of
building
stuff.
your identity. I think it's
Sure.
building your identity through
Yeah,
curriculum.
and you
through
say your
curriculum,
identity
and it's-
should be represented visually.
You didn't
and
let
I
me
say
finish. You
your
didn't let me
identity should be
finish. I think
represented through your personality.
You
and your
didn't
mind.
let me finish. I think you should be able to. Tim's jumping up and down in there. I think you should be able to build your identity not only through your curriculum and through extracurricular activities, but also through your own ability to create your own sense
existence.
of fashion. I think
And
that's
make
okay.
everyone else feel like an other.
It doesn't mean that you're a no.
No,
Most people that really use fashion as a sense of self-expression, they're not fitting into that trendsetter. You look at Gwen Stefani. She talks about making her own clothes at like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. Then she later has a fashion brand. So curriculum, making clothes is also a curriculum for a lot of people. That becomes their profession.
I'm just saying that at the end of the day, the things
You can't compare the two. You're comparing apples and oranges.
What you're saying, we just argued for what the lessons of boys' life being stronger than the lessons of girls' life, and
Boys can cut and sew and create clothes too, and then become a fashion designer.
Yeah, but
look
I
at Karl
think
Lagerfeld.
those
Look at
things-
Marc Jacobs. Look
but
at
those
Tom
things
Ford.
are going to be in like the fashion tips section, which we say are like the poison of young girls' minds.
I think if you look at the two side by side, that dynamic is what was powerful. Just saying that girls should focus on my first kiss and looking pretty, and boys should focus on science. I think that alone, you shouldn't box people in, but I don't think that should be representative. That you can't like go to school and experiment with fashion and even makeup, whether you're a boy or whether you're a girl.
Agree for me to be right and you to be wrong.
Yeah. Okay. Agree to disagree. Ah! Okay. Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next time on Pop Trigger.